like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle.
Hey, and it's your co-host that does it the most. It's your boy Rick Masters. You already know the disaster over here. We got the red shirts, the pull-up basketball podcast red shirts, the black, the white. Hey, ladies, hey, we got the white tanks. We got some stuff for y'all too. It's unisex. We got the hoodies, the sweaters. We coming through. Y'all support, man. Hit me up at Rick Masters 23, at Rick Masters 23, or Mr. Lee on Instagram. Rick Masters everywhere else. BJ, let's go.
My man said go get all our merchandise, you know what I'm saying? You go through our Facebook, our Instagram. We got that all pinned in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Cash App. Also, you can go into the comments as well. You know, you want to arrange a type of merchandise, donate to the podcast. We all appreciate all the love that y'all give to us. We have all sizes, black, white, and red, all colors, you know what I mean? But let's get it going, bro. We got another good show for us today. We are 2 weeks removed from the passing of legendary icon NBA player Mr. Bill Russell. Okay, Bill Russell just passed away at the age of 88, just officially 2 Sundays ago. And as a matter of fact, we were actually on air doing the show while it happened. One of the subscribers, Bubba, actually came out and said, you know, Bill Russell just passed away. So initial reaction was just like, wow, like he's one of those guys you never really felt. You know, everybody passes, but you didn't think he was going to pass anytime soon because he was just that monumental. But his number was just retired from the NBA just this past week. He's the third NBA, the third athlete in any sport to have his number retired. The other 2 players are Wayne Gretzky, who played hockey, and Jackie Robinson, who played baseball. But now Bill Russell has his number retired. Talk about, first of all, just what that means to the sport and what was Bill Russell and why do you think his number was the first number retired in the NBA? Let me hear you.
Man, look, man, I think arguably Bill Russell, I don't think nobody would have an issue with that. You know, simply because he was the pioneer. Him and Wilt Chamberlain and a lot of those old school guys were the first real, you know, in our modern day superstars. You know what I mean? You know how we look at Kobe, how we look at LeBron, how we look at Jordan. It's like in those days, like they were the Jordans and they were, you know, the Kobe Bryants and LeBron James. And then they were like the pioneers of the NBA league, right? Now, of course, I'm pretty sure some old school heads come in here, you know, Dr. J and the ABA, which I accept that as well. But I think far as overall, when you think of the birth of the NBA, when you think of, you know, where it all started, the first brick that was laid, the foundation, yes, Bill Russell is going to be that guy. And I think the reason why he's that guy and he's that face and they chose the number 6 in his jersey is because he did more than basketball. So let's keep in mind, not only was he the biggest winner, all right? So we got 11 chips. Not only was he the biggest winner, but he also was one of the biggest activists as well. And so we got to understand that it just wasn't basketball. It's like he won in basketball, but then he also got with other winners like Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, other people. The football player name keeps running from me, but all these people from their great times, they got together on that summit, and like, man, Jim Brown, thank you. They got together on that summit, and it's like in the NBA, outside the NBA, the man was killing. He was a pioneer. He was a winner of all facets of life, not just basketball. So I think, and then also he became the coach of the Celtics. Like, the dude has done so much that he is so monumental that you can't really erase him out of your head. So I think it's only, you know, befitting that they used his number across the league. And I honestly wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't think most people would, man. But what you think?
So great opening point, bro. Like I was just putting some of these pictures, man. There's been some NBA players well known who wear, you know, the number 6. You talk about LeBron, of course, wore in Miami. That he played with Miami, wore number 6. Dr. J wore it, the famous Dr. J, number 6. You had DeAndre Jordan wore number 6. Montrezl Harrell wore number 6. There's a few guys that are well known that wore number 6. So now the situation is, and we had a question from Dejan Mercius. He said, should LeBron change his number? So what I saw in the article, according to the article in this statement, it says, addition to retiring Russell's number league wide, all NBA teams will also wear a patch on the right shoulder of their jerseys, honored for the next season. Every arena will have a clover-shaped logo with number 6, according to Shams Charisma of the Athletic. So, and I also want to put this other point up. Let me just find it real quick. Let me just find what they said also in that same article that players can still wear the number 6, but they won't be issuing a number 6 to anybody else from here on out. So you could still have the availability to wear it. If you still had number 6 last year, you can still wear that number. They're not going to take the number from you. But you can't, if you're trying to get number 6, like, they're not going to issue it out no more. So that's what I think they're going with. But I think, again, with the most impressive thing is that he's the third athlete in any sport to have his number retired. You guys see the picture right there. Jackie Robinson for MLB, Wayne Gretzky for hockey, and then Bill Russell for basketball. He's the first NBA player to have his number retired. Before Jordan, before Kareem, before Kobe, before Magic, before all these other pioneers, Bill Russell is the guy who has the number retired. And it ain't like a number that players don't wear. Like I said, number 6 is a pretty well known number. So that's kind of somewhat of a big deal, in my opinion. So yeah, just to answer Dejan's question, like, he doesn't have to change his number. LeBron doesn't have to change his number if he wore number 6 last year. But I think he was wearing number 23, if I'm not mistaken. But also, bro, what is when you think of Bill Russell, the basketball player, what do you look like? What do you think of when you think of Bill Russell, the basketball player? What he accomplished? What he separates him from everybody else?
I mean, if you're asking my opinion, because of course we can always look at stats, but if you're just asking me just I view opinion, I think he was the most unselfish, superstar of his time. A lot of people would say Curry today in modern time would be the unselfish superstar. Tim Duncan in his era, people would say would be the most unselfish superstar. But I think in Bill Russell's era, he was definitely the most unselfish superstar of his time. And then on top of that, he was also probably one of the most fun people to play with of his time. And the reason why I say that is because it just goes to show after he played, he became the coach, which means the organization, the teammates, they had to have some type of relationship with him for a black man at that time to take over. And people actually love you and trust you with the fundamentals of the game and the teachings of the game. Also, it also goes to show the chemistry that he had with the players on his team, right? To go to that many finals, to win that many games. And remember, his biggest rival was Wilt the Still. That dude was no joke. I mean, that was Goliath. And like, if people really go study basketball, Wilt Chamberlain sounds like Superman.
Yeah.
Like, it literally took a team to take him out. Like, I felt like if it was just Bill Russell and Wilt and nobody else, it'd be tough for him. But because basketball is a collective sport and there's so many moving parts, I think Bill Russell was the most unselfish. He was the most coordinated, the most strategic big man, and his defense was just immaculate. When it came to defensive win shares, because, they had a lot of stats back then that we don't really regulate and keep up with back then, like up to now, so transitioning. But just in defensive win shares, my boy is still number 1 today. So it makes you wonder, if they would have had all these stats back then, it's like, what would it look like today? So I think just pure eye view, probably one of the most unselfish basketball players, one of the most lovable basketball players. Look, you can look at pictures today. Let's Google it. Michael Jordan likes him. Kobe sits with him. Like, your modern players love Bill Russell. So it just goes to speak about his personality and how it might have would have been if you would have played with him back in his time. He was a winner. So that's how I look at him.
Well, that's a good point. That's the last point you just made. Like, everybody, first of all, if you're an NBA legend, you're going to get respect regardless. But the respect they gave to him was kind of like, it was different. I saw Jordan, he wasn't memorized by really anybody. But I saw when he was around Bill Russell, he kind of had that admiration for him. Like, it's like, man, I'm standing next to Bill Russell. That's how we look at Jordan. Like, man, if we met Jordan, we like, man, this dude, we don't even feel like he even walking on the street, like he's just walking on water. That's how we look at Jordan at this time. But that's how I think he looked at Bill Russell. And then Kobe had admiration from him. Tim Duncan had admiration from Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, like all these greats had all these admiration for Bill Russell because not only did he win 11 championships, but just his demeanor and how he played the game was the right way to play. And if I'm your teammate, I want you to make it as comfortable and make it as conducive as a playing environment as possible. And that's what Mr. Russell did. He always made sure he gave his teammates credit. I can recall a story with Kobe where Kobe was having trouble winning a championship after Shaq left. And he had a conversation with Mr. Russell about how you get the best out of your teammates. And he said, you have to allow them to do what they do best. You can't do everything. I remember Kobe at one point was, somewhat trying to do too much, trying to score all the points, try to, control the ball. You know what I'm saying? He was individually great, but the stigma of him being selfish and not knowing how to win, he did not accomplish that. And then Bill Russell told him, like, look, let guys like who can shoot the ball, let them get the shots at times. Let, guys who play make, let them play make. The defensive side of the ball, you know what I'm saying? You got other teammates who can play defense as well. And once you do that and allow players to be themselves and be the best versions of themselves, and you put that in them, then they're going to be more comfortable and they're going to be willing to do more for you. Because that's the trick. That's the mind trick that you got to give people who are not as talented as you. You got to make them believe that they're still on your level and they can do what you do. That's empowerment, that's leadership, and that's greatness. But let me ask you this. What do you think Bill Russell, there's a case to be made that he's the greatest of all time?
I mean, how they say it depends on how you looking at it, right? I think that who said it best? I think it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, actually. I think it was him. And it was like you have your greatest player of each era. And I don't want to misquote him, but it was kind of like the way I took it was, it's like it's all subjective, right? But it's like of each era. And so I kind of like that because in a way it's like LeBron, as much as I'm not a fan of LeBron. I have my personal reasons, but I'm not even going to poo-poo him right now. In this era, his era, he is the best.
Yes.
His era, he is the best. I ain't no denying that. Dude is the best. So I like how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar kind of put that, and I forgot where I was watching that at, but I like how he said that. It was like, if you're looking at the era you're in, the players you're playing against, the teams, the rosters, the coaching, he was like, within the era, I can see how certain people you may say was the GOAT. And I was like, I like that. Because at the end of the day, we will never get to see Kareem and Jordan play off against each other. We'll never get to see, Kobe and Wilt to still play against each other. You know what I mean? We'll never get to see certain people get to play against each other.
Right.
Like, I just feel like Bill Russell in his time, yes, will definitely be the greatest player of all time. I mean, and even though they didn't have as many teams as now and all that, he did have a rival in Wilt Chamberlain that could have easily took him down if it was just a one-on-one game. You know what I'm saying? But since it was a team effort game, we already see that Bill Russell had the more strategic and more, team effort, effortless type of mindset. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
And Will individually was looking like LeBron James in his prime back in them days.
Right.
Like, Will was over here doing crazy numbers as an individual. So if this was a boxing match, who knows? This would be a different story. But since this is a team, oriented game, then yes, I could definitely, see why people can make the argument that in his era, in his time, he is the greatest of all time. But and even if if it's your opinion that Bill Russell, again, how you look at it, he got 11 chips, he's the greatest, I won't argue because that's true. He has 11. And if that's your argument, I won't fight you. But now when we start getting deeper, I'll be like, eh. That's all I got to say on that.
I'll take it like this, but I don't think Because like I said, it's all opinionated, it's all barbershop talk, it's all speculation. Most of our greats, we don't give the big men the acknowledgement. We just don't. I saw a poll not too like probably like a year or two ago, and NBA players were asked, and I think fans as well were asked, who's the greatest of all time. They had Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and Kareem. Those are the four guys they had listed on there. And Jordan, of course, he had the upper hand, he had the majority. And then Kobe and LeBron split the votes between those two. I think Kobe had 12%, and LeBron had 12 or 13%, and Kareem had 1%. Now, that just goes to show you, like, number one, that was probably like a group of players that did not watch Kareem. And number two, we don't value the big men like we do the guards. Like all those guys that we just named, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, those are wings and guards. So it's like you don't look at big men the same. They're not as sexy. They're not as spectacular as the players who can just run and dunk on you or fadeaway shots and all that's amazing stuff that they do. The bigs like the Kareems and Tim Duncans and the Wilt Chamberlains and Bill Russells, like they don't get talked about in those conversations for whatever reason. But the statistics are there, the resumes are there, the accomplishments is there, that these guys can be just as talked about. Now, as far as Mr. Russell is concerned, if you ask me to make a case for Mr. Russell as the greatest of all time, I can do that right now. He is the greatest winner of all time. Now, that's the main thing that we talk about. How many championships he won? That's the number thing we talk about with Jordan. Jordan 6-0. We talk about Kareem winning 6 championships. We talk about Kobe not getting the respect to deserve until he won without Shaq. We talk about Magic Johnson winning 5 championships. We talk about Tim Duncan winning 5. Like that's the first thing we do. We talk about how many rings have they won. Bill Russell has the most rings. He has 11 championships, and it's not like he walked into Boston and was like a winning situation. Boston was not a dominant force until Bill Russell really got there. They had Bob Cousy before he came, but Bill Russell was the guy who actually instilled winning, a culture. And then when you had him sit down in interviews, he spoke directly and actually detailed how he was able to empower his teammates. Like I was saying, he had a scheme of always making sure his teammates were comfortable. You saw him a lot of times rebounding and playing defense. That was his role. He wasn't concerned about scoring. I think his career average is around like 15 points a game. So the man wasn't concerned about scoring. The man was concerned about doing what he did best, was playing defense and rebound that ball. And once he did that, you can let other players do what they do. And that's how he got 11 championships. But yeah, I think you can make that case right there and then leave it that, and then like let the chips fall where they may. And he was probably the greatest defensive player of all time. I can make that case.
That could be an argument.
Yeah, I think he holds the record for most blocks. Yeah, and all that. So it's like you can make. Right. So you could definitely make the case. It's just that it was stuff, but people talk about it was in the 60s and all that stuff. So it's like people don't want to really hear that. They don't want to even. They're not like most people are not like you and I who really study the history and appreciate the guys before us, man. Like they just want to see the highlights, and that's pretty much it. But that's what I gotta say about that.
Man, I honestly think, I mean, no matter what era you play in, and we kind of already talked about this on a couple of shows, back. I just feel like players would adapt. If you had Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in today's era, they would have gurus just like today. They would have nutritionists just like LeBron. They would get paid the amount that LeBron and them get paid today. Like It would just adjust. And then it makes you wonder, in a hypothetical world, how much better would they be? Because George has had the 1980s and 1990 way says like we did at Louisville High School, rusted bars and stuff, and a little place that's all metal and all. Like, think about that. That's what they had. So imagine if they would have had the new facilities, the nutritionists, imagine when he get beat by what happened?
No, I'm listening.
Like, imagine he get beat by the Pistons in 2022. like, you know, Isaiah and them tearing them up. And then it's like, yo, what do I do? Hey, man, we got this creatine. We got these bars where it give you 16 grams of energy and you can play when you tired. Your little Gatorade bottle won't show up in the game. Like, you
Right.
can last for another.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
like, imagine if they had the same medicine, the same nutrition, the same. So that's why I don't really get too deep into that whole, oh, he's from the 60s, because if you go watch them play with that black and white camera and the video footage, my man was moving. So
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, you know who reminds me of when he moves like that? Giannis. Giannis moves the same way. The only difference is Giannis be eating protein shakes and steaks.
yeah, yeah,
But that
yeah.
doesn't mean that Bill Russell won't be just as big if he was born in this era. You see
Yeah,
what I'm
good.
saying? So that's why I'm kind of like, I kind of stay away from that because I feel like we're human. We're not like gods or nothing. We're all human. So if we had the same education, the same nutritionist, we all be just as big, just as fast. And, you know, but talent is what really gets you. Michael Jordan was talented and he had a strong will. That's what made him crazy. But just to kind of jump off what you just said, B Jizzle, one thing I noticed, now I was it Bill? Well, I think about Michael Jordan. Yeah, Michael Jordan. Because remember, you made a comment saying that you think the big men are not as sexy as they used to be. I think it's because of Michael Jordan. My opinion. It's just an opinion.
Yeah,
The reason why I say that
yeah.
is because Michael Jordan made the guard position sexy, as you put it.
Right.
Ever since Michael Jordan came, before Michael Jordan came into the league, it was a big man's league. It was big man game. Michael Jordan came in and changed the whole game around. He was like, you don't need no big man. You need a guard. And then after Michael Jordan, Kobe, Wade, T-Mac, all these big dudes want to play like Mike. LeBron James.
Vince Carter.
Michael Jordan. So
Vince Carter.
Like he took your eyes off the big man. So Jokic, Giannis, all these dudes. I mean, I look at Embiid. I love Embiid game. To be that big, Embiid is smooth, man. He's smooth to be that big. So it's like real basketball players still see the big man as important and key. But I think what you were basically saying, I know what you meant. Like, it's not as sexy. I think that's Jordan's fault. What you think?
I didn't even think of that because before you need a big to win. You couldn't survive without a big. Before Jordan came, you had to have a big. Like, you had bigs in the 90s, and then Jordan was still winning championships. And that's really very like transcendent what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you weren't supposed to do that. So now you talk about now, these bigs now are playing like guards.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to shoot threes. They're not banking. Like, people don't really even post up anymore. I think Embiid, he posts up, and Giannis posts up, of course. But yeah, people are not looking up. They're looking to shoot them threes. They're looking to, be pretty and shoot off the dribble, things of that nature. And that's a testament to Steph Curry, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's Steph Curry's fault. But it's a beautiful thing to watch the development of the game. It's a beautiful thing to watch skill sets grow. It's a beautiful thing to watch players be able to expand. And I think it's something to say that we have to stop doing. We got to stop saying, oh, because he played in the 60s, he couldn't play. Like, if he was moving like that in the 60s with no no protein bars, no creatine, no all that the shakes and stuff that they have now, if you give him that energy, and this can also be in Bill Russell's favor. I did what I did with all that stuff without having to take out a bunch of games. If I was given what y'all was giving, how much more do you think I would have been better? How much more do you think I would dominate? How much more do you think I would have? Because he only played, I think, 13 seasons.
Yeah,
and he still won 11 championships out of 13 seasons. So that's another thing we can add on Bill Russell's belt. Like, look, I played 13 seasons. I still had 11 championships. I didn't have the enhancements of technology that y'all have now, the facilities. Even when you talk about us in high school, bro, we didn't. Even it's like 10 years removed. We didn't have. If you go to Louisville High School now, that school looks like a junior college.
Man,
Look, our weight room was
real, but y'all tripping. Y'all wrong for that.
Yeah, and we was the top, like, probably the best team to come out through Louisville, and we didn't have none of that, all that stuff they have at Louisville High School now. We had like a weight room with the, the rusty bars, and then we had the basketball court. We had the small gym. It's history in there. Don't get twisted, but they have their whole uniform at Louisville gym. It's like a dome. They got a place you can walk down. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
and that should motivate you to win, to have all that stuff. But like we said with Russell, man, if he had the stuff that they have now, bro, he could have been any more dominant, and that's scary.
Beyond scary, man. And then I think about stuff like this. LeBron James has a nutritionist. Imagine if Bill Russell had a nutritionist and they got paid so much money that he literally could just focus on his body like LeBron. Because it makes you think, like you just say, you pointed out 13 seasons, and out of those 13, 11 rings. And LeBron can kind of be compared to that because he was on a run. I mean, he went to 8 straight finals. So it makes you wonder, because your body got to be in top-notch shape to keep running like that. That's one thing I do credit, LeBron on. I mean, despite what anybody may say, like I said, I'm a fair person. They were weak East, all that. Look, 8 times in a row, I give you that. I'm going to give it to you. And I feel like when we talk about Bill Russell, you kind of can compare the two. It's like, well, I wonder what if you would have gave Bill Russell $50 million a year and a nutritionist, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you start thinking to yourself, like, I wonder if you would have did this and did that. But at the end of the day, like Michael Jordan say, we'll never get to see it. So, you show your respects. You pretty much just respect the game as it's played out. And at the end of the day, man, I mean, again, Bill Russell is deserving of this, man. He's a pioneer. And I also take into account in the era he played in. It wasn't so nice to us black folk back then. and in saying that, right? Can you hear me, BJ? I'm about to say, you froze up a little bit. I think I see you moving now, but I can't really hear you.
You can hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
All right.
In saying that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, that's his real name. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he would be sexier, but look at what he had to go through. Look at the era he was in. He wasn't really, like, if this was social media, like, hey, like, he was not like a guy that was loved in his time. You know what I mean? So
right.
You got to understand, like, now I'm pretty sure black people loved him, duh. But it's like, understand the errors and where people come from and what they were up against. Like, I talked to a brother on the phone, man, at work. We used to start talking about basketball. He's a basketball Detroit, lover. He don't like Jordan. And you know why he don't like Jordan? It ain't because he beat the Pistons. That's not the reason why. He don't like Jordan because he felt like Jordan didn't support black folks. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So understand, like, he had his personal reasons, but understand that certain, like, centers like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they were going through stuff. Just like Bill Russell. They lived in an era where things weren't as peachy clean, where, today where I can get on Twitter or KD can cry about how he feels all day. Like, people were really going through stuff back then. And so I feel like, players like Bill, Kareem, all them old school cats, man, they had a lot up against them, and they were still balling. So, that's all I have to say about that, man.
Yeah, and there's something to be said. And this made a comment, Levon Brash. So we're gonna go through some of these comments as well. He said they made the game easier for you to dominate. They made it hard for me to dominate. Will Chamberlain said that. I want to go through. First off, that's a true statement, because here's the thing. There's no documentation about this, but they said Will Chamberlain can bench over 500 pounds. They said he can bench over 500 pounds. And just think about, first of all, just how crazy that sounds. A man benching 500 pounds, that's unhuman. That's like what you said, Superman. Mm-hmm. This man had he's 7'1".
Look at that.
Look at that whiff. That's a crazy whiff, man. This man he did high jump as well. Will Chamberlain did high jump. Like, these dudes were not just some guys that couldn't move, man. Will Chamberlain did high jump. Bill Russell did high jump, as well as, the physical attributes that Will Chamberlain had to be that tall to be that strong and be that dominant, bro. And this was out having any real technology that they have now. So you got to ask yourself, you factor in that, you factor in the fact that you just said they were going through real mental trauma at that time with black people as far as, being but racism. We all know the situation with civil rights and, what I'm saying, Jim Crow and all that stuff. Man, we ain't got to really even, that's not even got to be all that explained, but we were just basically saying like there was an uneven playing field. And yet and still, they still was able to prevail. So they were mentally, you have to adapt to the environment that you're in, like you said. They had to adapt to be strong and block all that stuff out. There was a story of Elgin Baylor, former Laker great. He had to go and fight in the military while he was playing. Now that's like you going straight from the basketball court and going straight out onto the battlefield, bro. Like, I'm not even thinking about basketball. I'm thinking about if I'm gonna live the next day. I ain't even thinking about basketball at that point. But that's what stuff had to go through his head while he was playing. So it's like when you really think about it, it's like you factor in just all that, bro. Like I can make a case like Mr. Russell went through stuff that the players now don't have to go through. They make more than enough money. You can be a 12 man off the bench. You can make 6 figures. They weren't making that back in the 50s and 60s. And he's part of the reason why these guys getting paid the money they're getting. So it's like it's a lot of stuff that we can really detach. And I had to really kind of look back into it too, because I was like, oh yeah, they played in the 60s back then. I don't know how that would translate. But I'm like, man, when you think about how you broke it down, it's like they would have been fine because it's like they would have the same opportunity, the same resources to be great. They would still be what they are, man. So that's basically the situation about that. My man plays for keep, man, said he wants us to talk about a little bit. What is your take on what's going on in Brooklyn? Will they run it back, or will KD and Kyrie leave? Have you been following the Brooklyn situation, bro?
I've been watching it and dealing with my grandfather's death. I haven't been getting too deep into it, but just going off of what I know before I head out really quick. And I'm sorry, guys. I tried to start a little bit early, but we had some technical difficulties. But I got to get going here. I got to head back to Texas.
Yes, sir.
I want to say with that, from what I got, from what I know, because y'all might know a little bit more. So going on in Brooklyn, they were running back. Will KD or Kyrie leave? I feel like KD gonna either end up getting forced to play, or they're gonna kick him somewhere that he don't want to go, because he's starting to get real rebellious up in that piece, if y'all know what I mean. Now, granted, I see both sides. I'm a fair person. I see both sides. I understand that the NBA would not be the NBA without the players, right? Because the players are the ticket sellers. They're the valuable assets. LeBron to me, LeBron is like the GOAT when it comes to monopolizing and playing this system. He's the GOAT.
Right.
That's why he's a billionaire. But at the same time, let's not, it's almost like I wish there was a mutual respect, right? Like I wish there was a, KD kind of acting like that chick you date that you done gave your best to, and then she, and she kind of forgot that you the one that helped her out. Even though she's a beautiful woman and she's cool and all that, she kind of forgot where y'all started.
Right. And
I just feel like that's kind of how he's moving now. And then with Kyrie, come on, guys, we already know how Kyrie is. So I just feel like with those two, to answer it kind of like blatantly and short, I just feel like KD is feeling himself. He's smelling himself, which is fine. But I think he needs to have a better, mature, relationship with that organization, right? Like you signed a contract. Come on, man, do your due diligence, man. You signed that contract. Do what you have to do. And then they will work with you towards the end, kind of like when you with a job. Like, hey, my last year, can y'all think y'all can help me out finding the spot I want to go to? I'm pretty sure they'll work with you. Stop disrespecting your coach, bro. Come on, man. Like, you playing for these people. But anyway, off of KD. Kyrie, like I said, Kyrie's going to be Kyrie, man. That man be feeling whatever he feeling on Tuesday, he ain't going to be feeling on Thursday, and that's how he going to roll. So, Kyrie is just a case within himself.
Hey, that's what we're going to leave it at, man. We're going to leave it at that, brother. But I know you gotta get going, man.
Yeah, man.
Like
Dejan, how I do him dirty.
I
That's why you laughing, because I'm telling the truth. Hey, you know,
yeah.
and I defended him. I said I get it, but I use LeBron as a comparison. Look how LeBron moves, and I'm telling you, BJ let you know I'm not a LeBron fan. I will find every reason in a personal argument to make him lose. And so, at the end of the day, like, look how LeBron moves, man. Like, he does business. He
Right.
works with you. I mean, he may leave your organization in the trash when he leave, but at the end of the day, it's not like you didn't see that coming. Like, he does business with you. It's like
Right.
KD just come in, yeah, let me sign this 4-year contract. Let me take all your money, divorce. Now I'm taking half. Like, no, we not. You
Yeah.
married me, you finna be here for at least 3 years before we start talking about taking half. Like,
Half.
hey, anytime KD go to a new team, they signing player prenups. That's what they gonna start doing.
Bro, they need to. They need to sign that do by year deal. You ain't getting no max contract, man. We can't trust you.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
be
trying to tell
trusted.
you, because of KD, they gonna start doing it with Kyrie. They gonna start doing player prenups. Like, when you sign a 4-year contract, at least half these years, I don't care if you want to leave, you go and play all 82 games.
Right. I'm
That's how they
telling you,
gonna
man.
start doing them.
They gonna mess up this money, man. A lot of these they gonna mess up this money by not allowing these guys to they just just taking the money and leaving. They
Yeah,
gonna start changing some stuff up, man.
I'm telling you, man. That watch all because of KD and Kyrie acting a fool. Everybody gonna be on prenups. Play a prenup.
Yeah, man.
But
Katie Kyrie.
hey man, I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, shouts out to my grandfather. We buried him
Yes, sir.
yesterday, Mr. Benny Jr. Masters. I love you, man. Hey, everybody, thank you for being here on the show. We appreciate y'all. I promise y'all I'll spend more time with y'all when I get back home, man. But right now it's like a 9-hour trip. So we got to get moving. I got to go get the kiddo. We got to head back to Texas. But hey, y'all, I love y'all. You already know who it is. It's your boy Rick
Pull up
Masters
back.
at Rick Masters 23. Hey, Mr. Lee, Instagram. We got the shirts, the red, the black, the white, the sweaters, the hoodies. Come on, people. Come support your mans. Come support your other mans. Let's do this. Yo, BJ, back at you.
Like my man said, continuously falls on the Pull Up Basketball podcast. I'm gonna still be on for a little bit longer, bro. But yeah, like my man said, also he lost his grandfather, man, grandfather Masters. You guys continue to pray for my man and give him good prayers and all that good stuff. You already know what it is with me, bro. But at the end of the day, man, we gonna always be here, and we want to make sure y'all continuously support us, man. But bro, I'll see you later, man, for sure. Salute.
Salute.
Yeah, man, that's my man. It's my guy. Y'all keep my man in prayer, man, for his family. Um uh he drove all the way for 9-hour trip from Texas to Arkansas, man, and got up and did the show, man. So he's a solid one, man. So for at the end of the day, we're always gonna keep him in prayer. But like my man said about this whole Bill Russell situation, man, he is well deserved what happened. Is well deserved what he got, basically as having his number retired. Um, well earned. You know what I mean? Let me go through some of these comments. Y'all keep hitting that like button. We still got some time in here, man. Anybody want to come here as well? I will drop the link and let y'all cook. If y'all want to come in here. Okay. So let me go through some of these comments, but y'all got the link right there. Dejan said, "Do you have Wilt over Russell?" I don't, because now as far as I look at Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, like I look at Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. Individually, as far as talent rise, as far as what he can do on the court, individually, KG's a better player than Tim Duncan. As far as scoring, as far as shooting, as far as ball handling, as far as even you could say just style, how he plays. Cage is a better individual player than Tim Duncan. But Tim Duncan is the better leader. He's the better team builder. He's the better blah, blah, blah. He has the intangibles to empower his teammates. That goes to show you those 5 championships that the Spurs had. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Spurs were not winning with before Tim Duncan. They haven't won anything after Tim Duncan. So that is a tribute to the greatness of Tim Duncan. Even if you want to talk about Greg Popovich didn't win until he got Tim Duncan, right? In 98 or 97, one of the two. But I think of Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, the same thing. Will Chamberlain, physical specimen, probably the most dominant player of all time with LeBron. But when it came to playing against Mr. Russell knew how to empower his teammates. He knew how to make his teammates believe in their greatness. And that's something to show about how great a player is, not just their physical attributes and what they can do by themselves. Said KG choked in the playoffs. You said Dirk over KG. I wouldn't. I don't know. It's a tough one because you could say Dirk choked in the playoffs in 07 when they played the Warriors, where they got beat as the number 1 seed, and the Warriors were number 8 when they had Baron Davis and Monta Ellis and Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, that crew, that kind of somewhat what punked Dallas. You could say that he choked that series down. You know what I'm saying? Dirk, he had that 2011 run was probably like the thing that really enhanced his legacy because that run was monumental. He went against the Lakers with Kobe. He went up against KD and the Thunder, and he went up against the Miami Heat. So you can say that he choked, but you can also say that Dirk choked as well. But as far as who I would take KG just because of the fact he played both sides over Dirk. So Dirk was a great offensive player, don't get it twisted, but I would not take him over KG. As well as his resume is better than Dirk's. My little bro said BJ Carmelo in his prime or KD in his prime. Who's more clutch? Melo. Are you talking about clutch as far as making last-second shots, or do you think you're talking about clutch as far as winning? I think if Carmelo had went to the Miami Heat, that big 3 with Chris instead of Chris Bosh, I think he would have won championships just like. Well, no, I'll take that back because you only got 1 ball and everyone needs to score. But you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say that if Carmelo had won with the Heat, they would have probably won more championships. He would have won some championships. He just never was put in a position to have the talent around him to win. But you gotta think about what he did when he first came in. When Carmelo went to Denver, he took his team to the playoffs his first year. LeBron didn't take his team to the playoffs. I felt Carmelo was better than LeBron his rookie season. And you can argue say the second season he was a better player. Then after that, LeBron, so separated from Melo. But I thought Melo the first 2 seasons was better than LeBron. I thought he should have won rookie of the year, and I thought he was better the second year. Now, like my man Dejan said that Bosh was a better fit. Yeah, that's because he hasn't had to take as many shots, and plus he played better defense. So yeah, that can factor in. But I'm just saying, like, if you give Melo a better team, he could have had 1 championship just like KD. I think Melo's he's a better scorer. How can I say this? He can score in a more variety of ways than KD. KD is a more point per game scorer, but Melo can score in more ways because he can post you up. He can shoot the 3. He can shoot the mid-range. He has some of the best footwork of all time. And he can get to the basket. He's a straight bull. So, I mean, it's just whoever you want to take. I would take Melo as far as clutch, though. He said, BJ, I saw an interview with Jerry West having high praise on KD. If West had the option of getting KD for PG and picks, do you think he would pull the trigger? Nah. I don't want KD, little bro. I think we good with what we got for a couple of reasons. Number one, the gap is not that big from PG from KD. Y'all gotta remember, just before that whole situation with the bubble happened, and PG was, balling out in OKC, KD said his favorite player was Paul George. That was his favorite player to watch. This Paul George is 6'10", man, or 6'9". KD's 6'10". So they're very similar in height. PG's the better two-way player. It's just that he's just a monumental offensive player. That's what it is. But as far as KD and there's not a huge gap between the two. And I got Kawhi Leonard on my team, who I feel like is better than KD. So I don't feel like it's necessary to trade PG for KD because, number one, Paul George deserves a championship because of what he's done with the Clippers. Number two, I already have an alpha in Kawhi to lead me to a championship. So what do I need KD for? I don't really need him. And I don't think Jerry West is looking at like, oh, we want KD because he's looking at building the best team. That's what Jerry West, how he looks at building teams. You gotta understand, he's not just looking to get the best players all the time. He's looking to get guys that fit. And you see that going on with the Clippers. They're getting like a lot of 6'6" to about 6'9" wings who can guard. Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum. You got Marcus Morris, and you got, of course, Kawhi and PG, and then you got guards that can, play defense like Norman Powell and Terrence Mann. You know what I'm saying? Strong guards who can play defense. So Jerry West ain't looking to, move anybody at this point. And but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Y'all got any other questions, y'all can just put them in the chat. Guys, you got some more time. About like another 15, 20 minutes. I'm going through some of these other comments. Let's see. Dejan said, "Will believe he was twice the player Jordan was." Yeah, I remember that. But that's what I mean. Like, man, Wilt Chamberlain, just the stuff he was able to do physically, man, you can see why he would say stuff like that. Like, this guy was literally averaging 40 and 20s and 40 and 25s a game. Like, now you could say because he wasn't playing as great as centers, but you can also say like he could have done that now because I don't care what era you in. Benching 550 is 550. You benching that back then without any real technology or anything, and you doing high jump doesn't change it. You still did it back then. So now you'll be even better today because you would have the resources to enhance your body to prolong and actually do the sport longer. So the dude was a physical specimen, bro. No matter how you cut it, no matter what era you put him in, he was a physical specimen either way. So that's just greatness at this point. Kendall Smith, welcome to the show, bro. He says, I think the defense will drop with KD for the Clippers. Yeah. Not just the team would drop, the chemistry would drop. The Clippers have chemistry, bro. Like, at this point, it's like, okay, it's like a group project. Think of it like a group project. I think of building a team like a group project. You got 5 people in the group. You got to, do an assignment together as a group, and turn into the teacher. If you're 5 of my good friends on the group and then you take away 2 of them and put them with 2 people that I don't know, I don't really like, I don't know nothing about them, you replace them with my 2 good friends, I'm going to see that, I'm going to feel that. I'm going to react some certain type of way. The chemistry, the camaraderie is not going to be there. It's the same thing with a basketball team. If you take away a Paul George, now you don't see him. First of all, Paul George's best friends with Reggie Jackson, who was a big piece, probably the biggest piece to the Clippers last year. He's a big piece to the Clippers now. He's cool with Kawhi. PG has been the guy who's been leading the ship since Kawhi has been out. So they come to practice with him every day. They go on the bus with him every day. Planes, team meetings, all that stuff matters before you even step on the court. So now I'm not seeing PG every day on a daily basis. The move's going to be a little bit different. You bring KD in, yes, he's great, but it's more than just him just being great on the court. It's about how you are as a team. And that you could tell a team how they play based off how they play. You can tell if they get along with each other or not. You can tell they play with each other or not. You know what I mean? And that's the Clippers. I'm telling you, and they brought John Wall in. John Wall and PG are very close. So it's like just would it make sense to add a guy like KD who individually is great, but yeah, he's still 34 years old, and we've been seeing there's some drama going on with KD as far as him being moody or as far as him, um, caught disturbing the peace, whatever you want to call it. He wasn't content being in Golden State because of what Joe Lacob said about Steph Curry being the face of the franchise. He goes to Brooklyn looking to feel like with Kyrie Irving, they're causing a storm of like. I don't think the Clippers want that over on their side when things are going well. Appreciate that comment though, Kendall. Play for Key. What's your take on Paolo? Do you think he has a good chance of winning Rookie of the Year this year? Or do you have someone else getting the award? I haven't really been paying attention to the rookie class much. I'm gonna be honest with you, little bro. But I seen Paolo play a little bit in these, summer programs. Like I saw him play against Dejounte Murray in Seattle at the crossover or the Isaiah Thomas program, something like that. And I saw him play at Duke. You know what I mean? Dude got promise. He's like 6'10". He can play kind of the mid post. He can shoot a little bit. He can handle a little bit. He's kind of like a bigger version of Carmelo. He's a little bigger version of Carmelo. So he got the offensive game. Um, we need to see, his dog when he faces these NBA players. We're gonna need to see what he's like on defense, how he's gonna impact his defensive game. But the way it's looking, how people are talking, they're saying that he has a strong chance of winning the Rookie of the Year. I know I watched a few players in the draft. There's this kid from Notre Dame. I forgot his name, but he reminds me of Donovan Mitchell. I can't even think of his name, but yeah, Paolo he's the guy. Chet Holmgren, he said KD, comparison, I guess because they feel like because he's skinny, he can shoot. But, I don't really see much KD in Chet Holmgren. I just seen a guy that's just long, who can shoot and who can stretch the floor. But I don't see KD in Chet Holmgren. But it's not a far-fetched situation. You can put Paolo and say that he's the Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? Y'all keep hitting hitting that like button, you know what I'm saying? Keep it with the comments. And as well, you guys want to show love to the podcast, y'all see the ticker right there, $ BJ Matthews, for this great content that we continue to push for y'all. But like we just said, for the people that just came in here, man, we talked about Bill Russell. My man, Rick, my co-partner, man, he just left about 15 minutes ago. And we talked about, Bill Russell getting his number retired and the impact he's made on the sport, as well as NBA players back then having they had it harder than players they do now because of the things off the court they had to go through, the money they did not make, the technology they did not have, right? So all respect to Bill Russell, what he did and what he stood for and all that good stuff, man. But yeah. So yeah, I know y'all got some other people in the comments, man. Y'all drop y'all comments. Y'all got anything else y'all want to ask, man? Go ahead. We're gonna shut down the live in a few minutes. So I feel for the Jazz. I think on D downfall. You said you think their defense is their downfall. I think they defense. I mean, their team. I'm just gonna go with what you meant. The Jazz. First of all, Danny Ainge, their GM or their president of basketball ops, one of the two. He's trying to gut that team out so he can get picks to kind of start over and press the reset button. You gotta understand, Danny Ainge was just a GM or head person in Boston. He's responsible for what they did with that big three. You know what I'm saying? The man knows how to build a team. He's a good, guy as far as building a team. And so he looks at the situation in Utah going on. He's saying to himself, okay, I got Donovan Mitchell. I got Jordan Clarkson. I got Mike Conley. I had Royce O'Neal. I let him go. I had Rudy Gobert. I let him go. So I need to look at ways to, better my roster. So Danny Ainge doesn't think Donovan Mitchell can lead his team to a championship. So what he's going to do, in my opinion, he's looking for the best deal to get Donovan Mitchell out of there because he's going to use him as leverage. Utah, first of all, they're not a team anyway. I don't think is going to be making any noise out west. I think they're going to be somewhere between the 5th and 8th seed this year. That Donovan Mitchell story is going to be very interesting. What's going to happen to him? If he comes back, I think he'll play one more year for the Jazz because the Jazz, I think they're hosting the NBA All-Star this year. But you could tell Donovan does not want to be in Utah anymore. I don't think he wants to be there. I think he wants to leave somewhere else. I've put out the notion of Miami, the team that he should go to, but it's all up to Danny Ainge what he wants to do with him. He's going to make sure it's conducive for not just him, but also for our organization because Utah is not drafting no superstars. They're not doing it. It's not going to happen. They brought in a few defenders. They brought in Jared Vanderbilt. Did they bring in Malik Beasley? I'm not sure they brought Malik Beasley. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they did, and they brought in Pat Bev. Those are 3 good pickups for Utah. I think Utah won that trade over Minnesota because now you got that Utah was struggling defensively. Yeah, I think Utah was struggling defensively. So that's what the Jazz did. People said, yeah, you saw we talking about that. So you talk about Rudy Gobert trade. Utah, what they did was they got guys who can defend on the perimeter. That's what Utah's been struggling with the last few years. That's why Rudy Gobert looked the way he did a lot of time because he could not guard on the perimeter. So he would get exposed like he did against the Clippers in the 2021 playoffs because they didn't have defenders on the perimeter. Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Bogdan Bogdanovich, like those guys cannot guard at all on the perimeter. So now they exposes Rudy Gobert. So what he chose to do was bring in Pat Bev, who can play defense, Jared Vanderbilt, who has length and can play defense, Malik Beasley, who is not a defender, but he can shoot the 3. So they got better. I think Minnesota got worse because you gave up your defenders and you gave up a lot of your athleticism. So you pretty much put a situation where you got Cat, D'Lo, and Rudy. You got a good, okay starting 4, starting 5, but who's your bench? Who's coming off your bench? Who's playing defense for you? Who is bringing in that winning mindset? Because remember, keep in mind, the T-Wolves were terrible before they got Pat Bev. The year before, go back and look at their record. They were not very good. They bring in Pat Bev. They make it to the playoffs. They make it past the play and then to the playoffs. So he had an impact on them winning. So I think the Timberwolves are going to be actually bad this season, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But y'all got any more questions, man? We got a few more minutes left. A few more minutes left. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning or Sunday morning. I say Saturday. I'll tell y'all, man, the time goes fast, bro. I'll be finna get in days and everything. I'll be telling y'all. Shout out to my people in the chat, man. Shout out to my people. Favorite basketball movie, bro. Oh, you know what's crazy, man? I just put that on my Instagram as a poll. What's my favorite basketball? My favorite basketball movie. I had Above the Rim. Above the Rim with Tupac, Dwayne Martin, Marlon Wayans. That was my favorite basketball movie. But then, of course, like you said, White Man Can't Jump was a classic as well. Of course, loving basketball, Coach Carter, He Got Game, uh, Glory Road. Like, there's a lot of basketball movies you can name, bro. But my favorite personally is Above the Rim. Above the Rim, and then He Got Game and Loving Basketball. Kendall said, yes, I hate the Clippers got rid of him, but I guess it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. It really wasn't the Clippers got rid of him, Kendall. If you remember, Pat Bev left on his own because he wanted to get paid, and which that's get your money. I think Pat Bev is like 33 right now, so he needs to get as much money as he could. He made 12 million in less than a year, so he actually doubled his bread. So I think people understand why he chose to leave because I don't know what number the Clippers gave him or threw out there, but he just didn't respect. He thought it was a disrespect, and he chose to shop his options somewhere else. So hey, once this basketball thing is done, you gotta look for other options, man. You can only play the game for a certain period of time, and you gotta make sure that you yeah, you expand your career as much as possible. And I think Pat Bev got like about a good 3 to 4 more years to play. I think he'll be because he's number one, he takes care of his body. Number two, um, he doesn't have a lot of responsibility on the court other than just to play defense and be a guy that runs around and all that stuff to pester people. But he's not his body, his role doesn't demand him to, what I'm saying, like have a lot of, stress on his body and his limbs. You get what I mean? So I could see the man playing for another, 3 to 4 years easily. So he's looking for his bread. Wherever the money is, that's where Pat Bev will be. But I got time for like one or two more questions and we will be done. Time for one or two more questions and we'll be out of here. Who y'all got winning the championship this year? Y'all got to win the championship. He said, I feel you. I guess he's not worried about winning the ring because Clippers, I think, was his best chance. Yeah, it was. It was definitely his best chance. Um, but yeah, he's thinking about making his money at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is like usually you do that when you are younger. You're looking to make your money and make and bring like an impact, individually. But once you hit around your late 20s, to, early 30s, now it's time for you to look to win, and now it's time for you to, build something because you should have made your money, early on, made all your money. Oh yeah, the Clippers. I thought the Clippers win the whole thing if everybody's healthy. I think the Clippers are the team that's gonna knock the Warriors out, man. Because if you look at their whole entire team, if I go into a series, I'm picking Kawhi over Steph Curry. It's gonna come down to those two, in my opinion. I think they're gonna have to. It's gonna come down to Kawhi and Steph Curry, the best of those two. Who's gonna be mano a mano? I still don't know why the Lakers are on the opening night day against the Warriors. I still don't know why. I don't know why that's the case at the end of the day. But other than that, um, hey, if you ask me again, If you ask me if the Clippers are healthy, yeah, I think they're gonna win it all. But if they get some type of injury, some mysterious injury like they've gotten the last couple of seasons, then go ahead and give it to the Warriors. He said KD is Kyrie for me. If KD, and then he said if Ben Simmons return, they'll be focused. You know what? That's not a bad take. That's not a bad take actually, because they added a couple pieces on that Nets team. They added T.J. Warren and they added Royce O'Neal, two good defenders. I think Royce O'Neal's a very good defender, and T.J. Warren's a solid defender, and he could score. So, and they added some size. So, the Nets are they're gonna be as good as KD leads them and Kyrie leads them. They have a team to get out of the Eastern Conference. But this is going to be a testimony to see if KD again can lead his team to a ring or to the finals at least. This is a chance for you to go up against Giannis, go against Jason Tatum, go against Joel Embiid, go against Jimmy Butler. Like, go against these guys and take what's yours. So this is going to be the end all be all. If the Brooklyn Nets messed this up this year, it's done. They really going to trade KD now, right? Because they obviously got a roster enough to at least get to the finals. But if you ask me who's going to win, it's going to be the Clippers. But hey, y'all, we going to end it right there, man. Appreciate y'all coming in here, man. Kendall Smith, I ain't seen you before, but welcome to the show, bro. Salute. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can continue to get our updated content when we go live. We go live every single night, Monday through Friday, Saturday mornings, as well as Sunday mornings. We go live as well. And my man plays for Keep, my little bro, always here. Always respect Dejan. Mercy is Miss Smith, Belloon Smith. Always pleasure having you in here as well. She's one of the moderators, been here since day one. So we always appreciate y'all coming through, man. Like I said, showing the podcast love. Y'all can, go donate to the Cash App or just do a simple like, share, subscribe, man. And that would be even better for y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. And until tomorrow, we will have another good topic for y'all. We respectfully say, pull up the seat, pull up the chair, pull out. Peace. I didn't like swim.